Hey everyone, Doug from Convology with another tutorial for Thrive Architect. In this video, we're going to look at photo shapes and photo morphs using Thrive Architect and how we can accomplish that with just a tiny little bit of cut and paste code. So here is the final product. The image on the left was a square image that I clipped into a triangle shape. And the image on the right, when I hover over the content box that it's within, it automatically morphs into a triangle. And I'm going to show you next how we can make this morph into literally any shape that you want, and how we can take this cutout shape and change this image to any shape that you want with no Photoshop, entirely within Thrive Architect, also using one other really cool tool that I've linked up here and that we'll talk about in this video. So let's go ahead and jump into the tutorial. All right, so here we are in Thrive Architect. Let's go ahead and look at how we kind of put this demo together, and then I'll show you how to build it. So first off, I've got content boxes and I've got images that I've dragged in. These are just standard image elements. And I've put in some text. And again, they're within my content box. The content box under HTML attributes was simply given an HTML attribute class, and that's all there is to it. So let's go ahead, jump in and take a look at how I built this. So for our tutorial, I have duplicated my content boxes. I've taken away the HTML attribute classes, and I've simply left in the text for us to use. So to get started, let's drag an image above our text, and let's choose one that looks good. I'll choose the San Francisco Bridge. There we go, that looks nice. Although I'll point out, this is a rectangular shape. It might work better, and I would make maybe one recommendation that you use a square image. We'll start off with a rectangle, and then we'll try a square if it is any better. So first thing that you have to do is to take this CSS here that I will go ahead and make available for you to copy and paste in convology.com in the blog post for this video. But all we're looking to take from this is simply this CSS right here. Basically the dot shape image, so the shape is our class, and image is simply saying any images within a container that has the shape class. So let's go up here. There's our image. We don't need to do anything to that, but we do want to take the container. And this is important because it's wherever we're going to hover our mouse. That's for the future. But for now, it's any image inside of this container that we give the class to. If I put shape in there and hit enter, you'll see that our image has taken the shape, has clipped itself into a triangle. Now, in order to get the triangle effect, we're going to go to a website, switch over to it here, called CSS Clip Path Maker. If you just Google CSS Clip Path Maker, it'll be the first result in Google, or I'll put a link in the description and in the blog post for you. So what this website does is it gives us the clip path in CSS. So all we have to do is drag these little nodes around, and then it automatically down here at the bottom generates the clip path that we just cut and paste. Super easy. Don't get overwhelmed. Just make a really cool looking shape that you like. There's only one rule. The starting image shape and the ending image shape have to have the same number of points, these little colored circle nodes. So in the case of making a triangle, where I drag this over here to 50, and I drag this over here to 50, you'll see that I was able to take 4 points and still make a 3-point image. That's the trick. If you don't have the same number of nodes, it messes up. Just trust me on that. So let's take this now, this little clip path. All we have to do is highlight that, Control C to copy, go back over to our demo, and paste that in. Now, all we have to do is take that CSS, copy it, go over to the gear on the right-hand side, go to Advanced Settings, Custom CSS, and paste it in. I've already pasted it in for us, plus the other CSS we'll use, but there you go. That's all there is to it. So now let's go ahead and come back here and look at morphing. Well, before we do that, let's take note here. Because this is not a square, it's kind of obtuse. Is that the right word? I wasn't great at geometry. So it's not really like let's scroll up. For example, this one is like within a perfect square. So it's up to you on if you like that. But just note, it's going to move those image clip points to the 50% mark at the top. So play around with it, find image shapes that you like. So now let's move on to our photo morph tutorial. And we're going to start off the same way, just by taking an image. And let's pick this one here. Or you know what, let's just go with the same image this time. We'll go with the same image just to kind of show what happens with a rectangle and then kind of evaluate what happens with a square image as well. Okay, so once we have our image added onto our page, we need to go back and look at our Clippy Path site again and decide what shape we want to use. Now for this one, we could do a triangle again, but let's look for something else more interesting. So here's how you use the Clip Path Maker. You can manually create a path, but on the right-hand side here, you'll see there's a bunch of predefined shapes. We have neat things like arrows, we have heptagons, octagons, rhombuses. A rhombus is pretty cool. Let's go with the rhombus. So make a note here. If I've chosen the rhombus as my default, I have 4 points. That actually works out really, really well because we're going to work with a square to start off with. So the first thing you want to do is go to your default image size or shape, which is a square or a rectangle, and you want to copy that path, the original path of the image. And let's add in under the .morph class, right? This morph class, this is our original image. We want to give that our original image shape that we just copied. Now we come back into Clippy or Clip Path Maker and we choose rhombus, right? Then we take the exact same thing down here, this clip path that it gave us, copy that. Now we want to go back to our page and paste in the clip path that we just copied. And there we go. So now we have our default image shape and we have our morph when we hover shape. And I've added this one line, a transition line, so that the clip path as it's morphing will kind of ease into the shape. It just makes it look more natural. Otherwise it'll just pop to that shape and it doesn't look quite as polished and cool. So let's go ahead now and copy this CSS, Control C. Let's go to our gear, go back to Advanced, Custom CSS. And now let's paste in our new CSS and press the check mark. Now, because we've given our content box the HTML attribute of morph, when we hover over it, you'll see that our image has morphed into a rhombus, from a rectangle to a rhombus. Now, I can change this image to a square. Let's find a square image. There we go. I can change this image to a square, and now when I hover over the content box, it looks more appropriately like a, what do they call that? Equilateral rhombus? I don't know, but the sides are all even and it looks a little bit more even. So of course, like a normal image, we can drag that down, adjust whatever size looks good for us. We can go to layout and position, recenter it, and there you go. So that is how you apply a photo morph when hovering over a content container. And that's a really, really cool effect. Now, there's a whole lot more you can do for this. You can apply rotating effects and other things like that. Now, I'll probably put those more advanced and in detail tweaks to this tutorial inside my brand new course called Thrive Architect Ultimate Essentials, which is now available. So if you are interested in learning more, definitely head over and check out that course, and I'll put a link in the description. All right, but that'll do it for this simple tutorial. I know you can make a lot of really awesome things using clip paths and morphing, so I'm excited. If you make something cool, definitely share it with me. I'd love to check it out. So that'll do it for me. Again, this is Doug at Convology, and I'll see you in the next video.